What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Green Rage Monster's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Marvel Legends Avengers Wave 2 from Age of Ultron, which is the Hulk, Iron Man, and Captain America. So let's get started. So we'll start with a fresh dose of freedom. And this is Captain America, and he comes with the shield. And he comes with some other accessories too, I believe. But we'll talk about the shield first. Looks good. They even have little, like, nails or screws sculpted into the star, which is a nice touch. The paint's fairly clean, a few mishaps, but fairly clean. And then we got this separate piece, like a soft plastic, so it can fit on his hands, which he has alternates for. The karate chop hand, which meh, and then a fist, which I'll be using. So you just pop that off and plug that in. Good to go. Let's talk about the figure. Head sculpt is a little crazy, but not god-awful. But it doesn't quite look like him, I don't feel like. They've been kind of nailing the likenesses recently, and I don't really feel like this looks like Chris Evans. And I'm guessing they're going for that movie look, right? Not sure. So anyway, the paint is done fairly well around the chin strap, and the chin strap is molded, which is a nice touch. The mask is molded on as well, and all the little details and stuff are all molded. We got silver paint in there. The A, I got a little scuff there, but overall, pretty good job. The head does come off to reveal the ball hinge on a ratchet, and you can plug in the alternate head, in theory. Easy for me to say. This is actually... There it is. And that's maybe a little better. It's not a good connection there. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like this is a little better, but I still don't feel like it's quite right for the reference. All this on the torso is sculpted. Now, I don't know if this has been reused before, and the paint is fairly clean too. We get a little bit out of control here with the red. It's like not on good enough, for lack of a better term. So the blue kind of shows through underneath, and actually the belt is scuffing up this, so that's unfortunate also, but overall, not bad. The ab crunch, you go about this far forward and that far back, but you don't get a full click either way, but I'm not sure if it's even designed to do so. The back, we got silver, and that's all fairly clean. It's broken up there though between the blue, so but it's not hateful. Then we got a soft floating belt, which is nice because it can hide the seam for the waist swivel, which is nice. I like that. And then we have ball hinge shoulders, which we got red paint all over them. Red paint poking through the blue here. The Avengers symbol is done nicely there. The blues don't quite match, but they're pretty close. I don't think they'd bother you. Bicep swivel works just fine. The white is on top of the blue, so that doesn't work perfectly either, and there's no sculpt differential to like split up the color, so it's not the cleanest, but it's not terrible either. Double jointed elbow works just fine. It's hard to tell. So okay, all right. So it's hard to tell exactly where the gloves. Oh, they just painted right over it. They just didn't care. So it looks like to me there's this bottom cuff here, which is where the glove should start. But they started the glove way up here, which should still be technically blue. But they just didn't care. So you kind of get that going on, which is stupid. And I hate that a fair bit. And then the wrist swivels and is on a hinge. It's hard to get the hand to hinge down all the way, but it does go. And the articulation is the same for the spare hands. And all this hand, the karate chop hand, is for this hand, but I think I'll be wielding dual fists, as it were. Silver's painted nicely on these two buckles for the pouches, but they don't do it on these for whatever reason. Maybe they ran out of paint. Our T-jointed ball joints for hips go about that far. Less than optimal. And then we got a thigh swivel, but the thighs don't feel like they quite fit right. Then the red is over top of the blue, so that's not done perfectly. And it's not sculpted, so it's just kind of placed on. It's not horrible, but it's not perfect. And then double jointed knees, which work fine. And then a boot swivel, which is stupid. And then a hinge for the ankle, which gets you all the way down, and a little bit up, so that's nice. And then a rocker, and the rocker doesn't give them the stupid like slipper look that some of them have been having recently, so that's nice also. They didn't paint these buckles on the boot either, which I feel like they should have done. But oh yeah, they ran out of silver paint, so what are they going to do really? But what's nice about this guy is all the molded detail in the suit. Like, they really did put a lot of effort into that, but unfortunately not much else. And he is okay, I guess. His head is on the same type of ball hinge. The gold paint is applied fairly clean. It's kind of a metallic red underneath, which I'm okay with. The eye paint, what troubles me, it's okay, it's fine. But like, this is done with this like, you know, this like a luminous kind of look, like this light up look. Paint, is that a sticker? I think that's a sticker. I'm not sure. But I would have wished that they had like a little light up looking eyes, you know, but whatever. The head does pop off so you can see the ball hinge. And then this head comes on and he's got the mask kind of up. The eyes are now black. Face sculpt is okay underneath. The eyes are painted a little crazy, but that's probably because they had a hard time getting to it with this piece sitting up on top. And this gold is not painted anywhere near as clean. This is not the best look for him, but it's there as an option. So, and the nice thing is, this isn't hateful, so that's good. Moving down the figure, he has a diaphragm joint, which I'm not mad at, but it does seem a bit bizarre. But it's a good range of motion. I'm actually okay with it. It does kind of give his trunk a little, just proportion-wise, it's like he doesn't have enough hip difference, and then he's got kind of got like a you know, long back here. Not that I'm checking out his butt or anything, but it does look like it does look a little diaperish. But whatever. The paint, this gold and then this gunmetal type color are applied okay, except let me see if I can't. You know, all that's out of whack. That's out of whack. That's out of whack. That down there is out of whack. That's out of whack. That's out of whack. That's out of whack. So actually, it is kind of a mess. But from a distance, you can't really tell. And he'll be on a shelf somewhere, and I don't think anybody will zero in on that. But yeah, and then it's scuffed up back here. But that's from sitting in the plastic clamshell, I would imagine. Shoulders are on ball hinges. And they work quite well, and this bit here is a soft plastic, so you can see you get an extreme range of motion here, and it doesn't bother it whatsoever. Bicep swivel, that's beautiful because of the design. Now these look a little goofy when he doesn't have his arms like kind of out. You know, like when they're down, it kind of looks a little off because you know, you would want it down like that. So that actually kind of sucks. Now that the more I'm thinking about it, it would have been nice if they were on their own hinges, but we know that's not going to happen. Double jointed elbows that work well, and then we have a wrist swivel and a hinge. But this piece of armor here is it's just not the best design. I don't know why they wouldn't cut it short. I might cut mine short. You can see where you could. Just because why do you need that flap? I don't understand that. I don't know if it's movie accurate. If it is, I guess I understand it, but I still think it's a poor choice. I don't know. Same on the other side. This hand has kind of like the power energy hand. Like, I like that blue. Why didn't they use that blue for the eyes? Or maybe they did. It's just that over the gold or the... Oh, no. Okay. It is the same blue. What happened is they paint this black and then they paint the blue on top of the black to kind of give it the outline. But that's the difference between blue on red and blue on black. And I prefer the blue on red, just color-wise. Hips are on T-jointed ball joints. That actually gets you a ridiculous range of motion, which is nice. And then forward and back, not so much back, but forward is no problem either. Thigh swivel, which is well designed. This is all painted. It's kind of a mess, but just looks phoned in. The paint just looks phoned in when you get up close on it. On a shelf, I don't think it'll bother you, but up close it is disappointing. And then double jointed knee and ankle. No, we got an ankle tilt, and then we also have an ankle rocker. So all that's good. Articulation wise, he's good to go, I think. But he does have plenty of issues. This will be my Ironman because I don't have an older one, you know, from any other previously released, and the Guardians of the Galaxy one is just not for me. But I think you'll be able to get a decent pose out of him, you know, and you get him on a shelf, and I think that you can hide his flaws. You know, he's far from perfect, but I think you can work with him. You know, if this was like a $60 Figma figure or like, you know, a Figuarts or something like that, like I'd have the issues with him would be a lot more troublesome to me. But at this price range, $20, I feel like this is okay. I know some people hate it, but I don't think this is terrible for the price point. Lastly, the big giant green rage monster, and as you can see, he does lend himself to some dynamic poses. That is the bonus of this guy. This guy is a little strange, though. We're going to talk about it. But I'm actually okay with a lot of it. But here we go. Okay, so the head is on a ball joint. You know, so you can see how that goes. It would have been nice to have a ball hinge, so you could have adjusted it a bit. But the face sculpt is just on the money. Good night. I mean, I hope that it's picking it up, but it's beautiful. Beautifully done face sculpt. I like the hair, I like the eyes, the paint's clean, the teeth are clean, and that is easily the best thing about this guy, and the fact that you can put him in some great poses. Okay, now we get to do some strangeness. So they went with a diaphragm joint, which I'm okay with, but usually, like, when they go with diaphragm joints, a lot of times they'll go with like the breast line, like the chest line, but like I do think it's a little strange that they went at the rib cage. It just kind of creates these angles. It's not terrible, and it's easily forgivable, and the back looks fine, but I just feel like I just don't know if it was the best choice. And you know, they went with pecs. They could have made his pecs bigger. Not that I'm trying to sell him on that. I'm just saying, and I think that would have been cool. And I think it would have looked a little cleaner, but I'm not 100% on that. I'm just pointing it out. The green is different between the chest and then the arms and the head, and I do find that obnoxious, super obnoxious. The shoulders are on ball hinges. We're kind of status quo there. So you get the swivel, you get, you know, it's a good range of motion, you know, and then you got a bicep swivel. That's pretty well done. And then a double jointed elbow that actually gets you really good around. And then the forearms, which aren't really forearms, are they? They're kind of like toilet paper rolls. I mean, I'm not an expert, and I'm not a scientist, and I'm not a doctor, but I do know a little bit about human anatomy. And I know that this is not how your forearms look, because if they did... Alright, time to do some gaming. Which is the same kind of problem he has. You can't really hinge his wrist here, and it hinges just a little bit back, and then you get the swivel out of it, but everything else kind of gets in the way. And same on the other side. And I would have liked, I mean, it's nice to have two fists. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that for this character, but I would have liked if maybe they had like an open hand. But whatever. No waist swivel because of the diaphragm joint. Now we get to the hips. And I don't know what they're on. So they're on a Y joint that comes down like this. And it's a steep angle. It's coming down from right there. So if you see, you know, usually Y joints are like right here, and T joints are like down in here. But this joint is coming from like way up in there. And it's on this disc, and then the thigh hinges on this disc, and then the disc swivels out. So the disc swivels up and top there, and then this swivels on it, so you can put it like this and then turn it up and then use the thigh swivel to get you the dynamic pose. Now it is effective. It takes a little bit of thinking to make it work, but it is effective. So I've never seen it before. I'm not hating on it, but it does kind of get you this weird. So you see, like, this is where, you know, the thigh sculpt is, and then there's this joint kind of popping out of it, and that is a little strange. But it's because of the dark color, it's not really distracting on this guy. I'm just pointing it out. There is like rivet detail on these pants, and that's cool. And then I almost wish, I mean, yeah, I'm always a sucker for paint, right? But I almost wish they didn't do the red paint here. And the only reason why is because, like, to get them into these poses, I mean, that's not a problem. But then you get the red stripe on the side. Like, keeping the red stripe not obnoxious is kind of a challenge. But it does. I gotta say, it does lend itself to some outstanding poses. So I have to give credit where credit is due. But it is bizarre. I've never seen anything quite like it. Very interesting. The Avenger symbol there is done fairly clean. I got some red spillover into there, but not a big deal. Double jointed knees, getting you pretty much everything you could want. The pants, this is the other problem. So the pants are all sculpted here with all this great detail, which is nice. And it carries down into the knee, which is nice. But when you get to the calves, no dice. So you lose the continuity of the details in the line work of the pants here, down in here. And then, is there any cuff? Is there anything? Nope. No sculpt work at all. Just a straight painted line across. Now, he's Hulk. He's big. He's going to be in the back of your shelf. You're going to have people in front of him. So it's not the worst thing that could happen. But it does drive me nuts. The sculpt work on the muscle in the calves are okay. It's nothing to write home about, but it's fine. And then the feet are all sculpted well, but they hinge down perfectly fine. But that's as far up as you go. So that's the one thing, if you go back and look at the beginning when I started talking about this guy, it's the one thing that didn't quite look right because I couldn't get his foot into the position I needed. But he still held the weight fairly well. And then you also get a really great rocker. So I like him. He does have some issues. I can see how people could be annoyed with a lot of these issues, but they don't really annoy me. I have the select one. He's kind of my Hulk because I like my Hulk to be bigger, and just to give you a size comparison. There he is standing straight up, and there's Iron Man straight up. So it's not terrible, but the select Hulk is like up here. So that's the Hulk that I have. I might start a separate shelf though for like my office or something, just for some of these characters, because he is really cool though, even though he has some really strange things going on. This isn't the worst set you can buy. This is a big improvement from the Spider-Man set, and I'm kind of content with them. They all have their issues. None of them are as perfect. None of them are like nail it, but I think, on a shelf, posed the right way, I think you'd be happy with this. I know that they've gotten a lot of criticisms, but I think they're pretty well made, and I think there's a lot of paint going on. It's not the prettiest paint. It's not the most well done. but there is a fair amount of paint, and it is applied kind of good enough. And I know that sucks to hear that. It sucks to say it, but it is kind of good enough. It's 20 bucks. They're on a shelf far away. You're not going to notice the imperfections. There's a lot of sculpt work on all these guys. Not enough on Hulk, but the other two, there's sculpt work everywhere. So I got to say, I'm overall, I'm pretty happy. I'm happy with my purchase. I would recommend them. Unless you have a representation of these characters that you're absolutely in love with. I'm not sure that one of these representations of one of these characters would knock your baby off your shelf if you have one. I have a Captain America that I'm going to be using, so I'm not going to use him. And I have a Hulk from the Select that I'm going to use. So I'm going to take Captain America and I'm going to take Hulk. I'm going to start a separate shelf in my office, I think, of Avengers. But he will be my Iron Man just because I don't have another Iron Man that I'm really happy with. So I know that's a bit convoluted, but I hope that that helps in some way, shape, or form. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.